THETA for the introduction and invitation. Today I'm going to talk about the cost effectiveness of screening for Hep C in Canada, and this is a recent article just published last week in CMAJ. So if you want to refer to more detail, please go to CMAJ and pull out the article. This is a project collaborated with Public Health Agency of Canada with THETA together to do this project. In THETA, I'm the project lead. We have a former postdoc on. Wong is also part of it, and of course, Murray is part of the team. And we're also collaborating with the Toronto Centre of Liver Disease. They are added as a clinical expert, as well as we are getting some data from their clinic in order to do the analysis. So here is the overview of today's talk. First of all, I guess someone is not familiar with Hep C. I will briefly go over some background on Hepatitis C. Then I will talk about the purpose of these economic evaluations. Then I briefly talk about the structure of the model. After that, I will talk about result, conclusion, discussions afterwards. First of all, background on Hep C. In Canada, Hep C, there's a recent publications about the seroprevalence on Hep C. And they found out that around 0.5% of the population is infected with Hep C. And among the age range, they found out that for the younger population, it is roughly around 0.4% of the population has Hep C. And the older populations from age 50 to 79, they found out it is around 0.8%. And from their survey, they found out that 30%, only 30% it is aware that they are carrying the Hep C disease. So why Hep C? It is important because the natural history of Hep C it is bad. Because around those one who infected with chronic hepatitis C, 75% will progress to chronic hepatitis C. And for those who infected with chronic hepatitis C, usually we're using a name CHC to represent the chronic infected populations. 10 to 20% of those CHC populations will be progressed into cirrhosis, and then they will at risk of dying premature, of liver failure, and of course liver cancer as well. And a recent disease burden study from Ontario by Jeff Korn identified that Hep C is actually ranked number 1 among all the infected disease in Ontario. So partly partly because of management of chronic hepatitis C, it is difficult because Hep C is a kind of a silent disease. There won't be too much symptoms that appear on the patients until they develop late-stage liver disease, and the prognosis is definitely poor. But fortunately, there are some treatments available. Those complications may be reduced by offering treatment in an early manner. And there's additional information about Hep C. It is we have to identify the genotype first. There are 6 different types of genotype of hepatitis C. And in Canada, the majority genotype is genotype 1. It is carried about 67% of the populations according to publications. The next common genotype is genotype 3, carrying around 22%. Genotype 2, it is around 10%. The rest, it is not that common in Canada as the whole populations, but in some urban center, since the immigrants always like to settle in urban center, there are some weird genotype like genotype 4, which found very commonly in Middle East. It is also can be found in urban centers such as Toronto. And talking about Hep C transmission, it is not a sexually transmitted disease. It has to be somehow blood presence in order for the transmissions to take place. Major transmission mode will be sharing and be using injecting drug equipment. Anyone has the blood transfusions before 1990 where there's no test taking place before that, or some unclean tattooing or body perforating, and definitely there's a mother to baby transfer mode. So according to PHET, who is at risk? Homeless, they found a higher prevalence for the homeless people. Haven't resided or received healthcare in country where Hep C is common. Ever have a blood transfusion or blood product before 1992. Having a medical or dental care with basic infections control practice is not followed. Or having a hemodialysis, long-term one, being born with a mother who has Hep C positive or having experience with a needle stick injury. So Pierre identified those are the people that may be at risk on Hep C. So after I talk about roughly about Hep C, the natural history, the background, it's time to talk about the treatment. So before 2011, the gold standard of treating Hep C is using pegylated interferon plus ribavirin. And in 2011, two what we call is direct-acting antiviral agents was approved for treating chronic hepatitis C on 2011, and they are called boceprevir and tenofovir. Those two drugs are pegylated interferon based, which means you have to take their neonates together with pegylated interferon plus ribavirin in order to give a successful treatment. And in 2013, two additional PR-based direct-acting antiviral has been approved. They are simoprevir and sofosbuvir, approved during 2013. And once after the approval last year, 2014, there's some interferon-free, which no longer require pegylated interferon treatment, has been finished up their phase 3 clinical trial last year. And since last year, we are officially coming to the interferon-free regimen stage for treating Hep C. Besides those drugs that I just mentioned in the last slide, actually there's lots of drugs. They're still in the development, under approval, and under phase 3 or phase 2 clinical trial. So at the time of this project proposed by the PHET, we only estimated a couple of one will be coming next year. And at that particular stage, we can only see simoprevir and sofosbuvir. It is finished up the phase 3, and right now those two drugs is already approved and is on the market right now. With this new drug on the market, and there's definitely some opportunity to play around the treatment, the combinations. We will expect that all those treatments will expect to see much more effective treatment, but likely it will cost a lot of money. So after I talk about the treatment, in order to go on the treatment, we have to find out who is infected before. So we have to talk about screening. PHET issued a screening statement. The last version, it is in 2002. They are promoting a risk-based screening, or what they call is called target screening. They are target screening for those who has identified as at risk in some of my previous slides. Basically, they will target screening for, they will commence screening for IDU, anyone on hemodialysis, anyone has the evaluated ALT level, and anyone who has some blood transfusions before 1992, etc., etc. So you can see the listing in the website. And why they want to revise this screening? The major reason behind it is in 2012, the Center of Disease Control in the United States, actually they issued a new revised screening recommendation. They are recommending anyone who actually it is born between 1945 and 1965 to receive a one-time screening for Hep C. So basically, what they are recommending is all the baby boomers should test for Hep C in the United States. So PS approaching Murray and asked for, they want to take a look on whether these recommendations will be still cost effective in Canada, and that's why this project it is on. So here's the research objective. We know that there's lots of good treatment it is coming and likely to be very costly. But on the other side, this high efficacy treatment actually can reduce some downstream costs that are related to the complications of Hep C at the end stage. So in collaboration with PHET, our objective is actually to build a model to project the health and economic effect of different type of one-time screening strategy for chronic hepatitis C that's conducted in Canada. So that will conclude my Hep C background. Any questions? Yes, Wendy.
Was the reason for the change in strategy in the U.S. easier to identify baby boomers and all of those subgroups?
It is actually prevalence. They think that the baby boomer has the prevalence is much higher than the one who outside with this age range. So that is the main reason that that they changed the policy in the United States. Replaces the target screening. Yes.
How much does it cost?
I will talk about that. Okay. Yes. Yes. Yeah. So we definitely did not consider all type of different situations, and what the agency want is they want to see what will happen if in Canada we follow the same thing, what will actually happen. So there is definitely some policy in place. For example, injected drug user, since some injected drug user they are sharing equipment, so they already know that they have C infected. But this particular project we are target for those who are in the general populations, do not do much injecting drugs, and basically general populations, and see whether one time it is good or not. So here is the economic research questions. The first question we are asking for it is doing the one-time screening thing, regardless of all the risk factor for all adults born between 1945 to 1965, it is easy to identify. And actually, the agency also want to take a look on what if we expand this age range a little bit, what will actually happen. So they are proposing to do 1945 to 1985. So basically 25 years old to 64 years old, roughly. So the method that we are decided to do is we are going to perform a cost utility analysis based on a state transition model. The primary outcome will be the quality adjusted life year, with the strategy compared with the incremental cost effectiveness ratio. The target populations we will target on two different age range. One is 25 to 64 years old and 45 to 64 years old. Individual who is currently living in Canada according to the Canadian Census data. Prospective, we are doing a Ministry of Health prospective, collecting those, we are just accounting for direct medical costs. Time horizons, we are doing a lifetime horizons, and the models we implement using a weekly cycle length because the treatment is very sensitive to the weekly cycle. And discount rate, we are doing a 5% discount rate on both cost as well as utility, quality at the site. So in the paper, we actually consider this four strategy. The first one is do nothing, which is the current policy, no screening at all. The second one is screen and treat with pedigree interferon plus ribavirin, which is the gold standard treatment. The third one, it is screen and treat with pedigree interferon-based direct-acting antiviral agents, the DAA. But on top of the new drugs, those drugs are still based on pedigree interferon. And the last strategy we consider is the screen and treat with interferon-free regimens. And when we mention about screening in here, so I want to point out that the agency want us to take a look. It is a case finding strategy. So that means what is case finding strategy? It is individuals offering one-time screening for Hep C infections through their primary care physicians at a visit scheduled for another purpose. So that means, for example, you go to a primary care physician to check up, they will ask you whether you are interested in doing Hep C screening. So that means our cost will be lower if it is case finding strategy. And screening will be only involve a blood test for Hep C antibody, and all the positive antibody tests will be followed by an HCV RNA test to confirm the infection. Any question about this strategy?
Your second strategy with PEG ribavirin, nobody's on PEG.
Yes, but they do want to take a look on.
They want to see what.
They want to see the number. Yeah. Yes.
So what about screening and no treating? What about that?
Screening and no treating. Yeah, we did not consider that.
That's because you're saying that screening and.
I will talk about the model. Not all of the patients will screen and treat. Some of them we divide a probability on treatment based on some clinical data. In our model, it's only around, I will talk about that, it's only around 60, according to the fibrosis stage. The average is around 60% of people will be on treatment. And then the rest will be diagnosed in there, still following the natural history of Hep C. Okay? So I will talk about that in detail later. So different treatment that we consider in the model, we are mainly consider the 4 different treatment right now. We have lots of treatments available. We just pick some example in this particular project. So definitely PR, pedigree interferon plus ribavirin. We pick semaglutide as an example for pedigree interferon-based DAA. And we pick sofosbuvir as the second one because that it is approved for treatment for genotype 2 and 3 people. And then we pick a one, it is called ABT 450. It is a new interferon-free regimen that has finished the phase 3 clinical trial last year. So we pick these 4 treatments and then set up the 4 strategies that I I mentioned in the last slide. So for the screen and treat with peptide interferon, genotype 1 patient will be treated with 48 weeks of peptide interferon. 2 and 3 will be treated with 24 weeks. That is according to the Canadian guidelines. For the arm of screen and treat with peptide interferon-based TAA, for genotype 1 patients, they will treat with 12 to 24 weeks of semaglutide-based combination therapy. And genotype 2 and 3 will be treated with sofosbuvir. Again, it is 12 weeks to 24 weeks. And for the interferon-free arm, for genotype 1, so only genotype 1 has been done with phase 3 clinical trial, so we will just do ABT 450 on genotype 1 patients, and genotype 2 and 3 will be based on sofosbuvir. Now, I want to mention that sofosbuvir is already interferon-free and has been approved to treating genotype 2 and 3 right now. And all the arms for all the other type of genotype 4, 5, 6, since the evidence is not strong and there's not much clinical trial it is working on those genotypes, we are using that particular interferons for treatment model. Any questions? Yes.
Why did you include then Sovaldi for genotype 1 as well?
For this particular paper, we didn't. For the Cardiff project, we did. Yeah, for this particular paper, we did not.
Did you assume same cost? It means Sovaldi is elected in the other project.
Yes. Yeah. Yes.
Why didn't you include the headboarding? They're currently being used. ABT 450 just finished it.
Actually what happened it is suggested by the reviewer. So we have to including some new thing, the interferon-free ones for the paper. But for the PHET particular report, we actually don't have this interferon-free arm in the original report that we submit for the agents.
Did the reviewer tell you why they selected ABT 450 and
Oh, we pick it. Yeah, it is up to us to pick it. There's some conflict of interest in this because we have access to the ABT 450 data much better than the others because one of our clinical experts is on the clinical trial, so we have to do this quick, so that is why we pick 450 for convenience purpose. So let's go to the economic model. So I will talk about the structure using a traditional state transition bubble diagram. So bubbles means healthy and arrows means allowed transitions. So for all the healthy, the allowed transition will be some cardiac hepatitis unrelated death. So when we start up the simulations, we will divide the populations into 3 different groups. One it is HCV negative, one it is undiagnosed chronic hepatitis C infections, one is diagnosed chronic hepatitis C. So different screening strategy will have different proportions for the simulations for the people put in the simulations. So for example, there's no screening in place. The majority of people will be in the undiagnosed stage, and only 30% will be diagnosed because from the Statistics Canada report, they're saying that 30% of the population actually aware that they are infected of Hep C, so we will put only 30%. But when the screening is in place, majority will be in the, we are assuming majority will be in the diagnostic stage rather than the undiagnosed stage. For when we modeling DXC, we are modeling the natural history of Hep C using Stephen's fibrosis level. So this is the fibrosis stage from F0 to F4, F0 means no no fibrosis. F1s, F2s start to have some to mild fibrosis, and F4 is severe fibrosis, and F4 is the clinical cirrhosis stage. For patients who develop cirrhosis, they will eventually progress into the advanced liver disease stage. Yes.
Do you assume any self-cure or self-cure where they cure themselves?
We don't. We are modeling using the progression data from a meta-analysis. They will eventually, using probability, they will eventually progress according to the timeline. Yeah, according to the probability. So for undiagnosed population, they have a chance to go to diagnostic stage. We found out a probability according to the Ontario number of tests done in Ontario, and we divide those probability from there. And once patients who has been diagnosed with CHC, they have a chance to go on to the treatment. So as I mentioned, not everyone will go to the treatment, but we have divided a probability to go on the treatment. And once they are on treatment, they can either respond to the treatment or they will become a non-responder. Okay? So when they are responding to the treatment, we are saying that this is called SVR, sustained virological response. This is considered as cured for the disease. And we are assuming in our model, if anyone who achieves SVR from F0 to F3, they will not progress anymore. For F4, they will still have some chance to progress, but the chance is much lighter than the traditional progression rate.
And this probability of response, is it fibrosis stage related? I mean, do you have data for this?
We have data, major data. They are divided by fibrosis level. For example, we are able to gather data from F0 to F4 as one group, and F3 and F4 as another group. Some clinical study, they will report F3 only. Some of them will report F4 only. So we do have some data on it. And for those non-responder, the last column, they will still progress like a normal undiagnosed people. So when we talk about advanced liver disease, we are actually talking about decompensated cirrhosis, the HCC, which is the liver cancer. And once people on decompensated cirrhosis as well as the liver cancer, they have chance to develop liver transplant, as well as after the transplant, they will go to the post-transplant stage. And from all these advanced liver disease, they have a chance to have a CHC-related death, and of course, they can die with other sources as well. So I will briefly talk about the data input. As I mentioned, the fibrosis distributions, it is from the clinical data. Fibrosis progression probability is divided from a meta-analysis done by Woolsey and Murray. Cirrhosis progressions, it is gathered from a JAMA paper, which including the Canadian patients. Probability of receiving treatment, which is kind of the treatment uptake number, it is from a clinical data, again from clinical data from the Western Hospital. And all the efficacy, discontinuation rate, adverse event rate will be from clinical trial. Mortality data is from cancer registry from the United States, and the cost, we have some Canadian costing study done by Mel and Murray in BC using administrative data. So all this will be put into the models to perform the analysis. So briefly take a look on what is the important cause. The first 5 more will be very important cause, which is the chronic hepatitis related cause. So the number it is coming from Murray's administrative study in British Columbia. So they in their study they are doing a phase-based costing study. They divide 60 into early phase, late stage, and also pediatric stage. So we are obtaining those number from there. So another type of important cause is the cause of antiviral therapy. As you can see, Semapavir, we have a particular exact cause, and Sofosbuvir, we have some cause. Those causes are from a recent Cardiff therapeutic review. So basically, Cardiff actually asked the manufacturer what is the price for that. So this is the price that the manufacturer answer to Cardiff, and it is not on any provincial price. It is not on the secret negotiation price yet. So this is the manufacturer price. And for this interferon-based therapy, we are assuming, so we don't have a cost. Definitely, they just finished phase 3 trial. We don't have a cost yet. So we're using 50,000 as a charge on that. It may be low, but since the competition is high, it may be actually reasonable. And particularly interferon, we are using, again, it is from Cardiff Therapeutic Review. And the cost of screening, we are just doing one blood test, so it's only $15 in Ontario. We finished the course. Another important component of cost-effective analysis is the utility. The utility, actually, we are divided again from Murray's previous work. In their study, we have utility data for Hep C patients, and it has divided by some health stage, including the non-cirrhosis stage, the cirrhosis stage, liver cancer, post-transplant, the viral clearance number, as well as the on-treatment utility. So we use mainly based on this utility to perform our analysis. Cost utility, then we have further assumptions. So all the costs inflated to current years, and HCC, which is a liver cancer and determined cirrhosis, we are assuming they can occur only at F4. No switching of treatment it is considered. So definitely in real world practice, if one thing is not working, you may switch treatment, but we will not consider that. Patient populations in natural history study assumes to be sufficient to reflect Canadian population. So the distribution of the fibrosis stage is a big assumption in here because we're using one hospital data to represent this. So adverse event was assumed to be transitions in nature and do not reflect the compliance thing. And then we're assuming only mono infection, mono Hep C infections. So we are excluding all the co-infected people. We do not consider HIV co-infected definitely. And one important assumption in here is we assume no spontaneous remissions. Okay? So that means we are not doing a dynamic models. We are not, people are not going to be infected again. So it is not considered in our model. Yes.
What about screening effective?
Actually, we are confirming. So we do a for details. You can refer to the paper. Paper is mentioned in here, but I didn't mention it here. So we have a compliance thing. It is we are assuming 91%, 91%. And then rest is all the other assumptions, including patient discontinued treatments are not achieving SVR. They may actually. Patients who discontinue treatments do so in the middle of therapy, and incidence of adverse events is not affected by fibrosis. So that's our main assumptions based in the model.
question about this 91% very, and
Yes.
what does that really mean? Does it mean that for those that they would be potentially benefit from the screening that they
So benefit from the screening, only 91% will be accept the screening. So this is 91%. It is actually from a CDC paper. So because we want to do a comparison with the cost effectiveness in United States with that CDC used that to do the recommendation. So that's why in here we're using the same assumptions in Canada. So it's 91%.
And the screening method was the same.
Yes. Yes.
This case finding.
It is case finding.
So this is not mounting a national screening program, some central causes for a male reminder, you, baby boomer, get your testing, kind of that, like a recommendation, medical care, family doctor should. So I think what that practically means is that when the family doctor offers you, thank you, 90% of the time, 91% of the time, oh, great idea.
Okay, so it's conditional that agrees with the physician.
Yes.
91% chance that you will accept.
Yes.
So I will briefly talk about the results. So for the base case results for age 25 to 64, so this is the traditional cost effectiveness table. Since we are actually more interested in comparing no screening versus different strategy, so I would, the major columns in here will be compared to the common baseline. So we have 4 different strategies: no screening, screen and treat with peptide interferon, the interferon-free one, the semaglutide as the role. This represents the average cost per person's screener, and this is the quality adjusted life years. Again, it is average. And then we calculate the change in cost, change in quality adjusted life year, and finally we obtain the incremental cost effectiveness ratio. So since we mentioned no one is going to treat with peptide interferon, so we will just focus on these 2 numbers compared to the no screening. So if we screen and treat with the interferon-free therapy, it is around $35,000, the incremental cost effectiveness ratio for age 25 to 64 years old. If we treat with semaglutide, it is around 42,000. If we take a look on if what happens if we screen and treat with this particular age range only, 45 to 65, the incremental cost effectiveness ratio for semaglutide it is 44, it increases a little bit, and the interferon-free DAA, the ABT 450, it is around $35,500. And we also do a micro simulations to take a look on what is the health outcome, how many actually lives saved. In the range of 25 to 64 years old, both semaglutide and ABT 450 will save around 18 people per 10,000 people get screened. And for 45 to 64, it can be save around 20 to 21 according to different strategies. So you may realize that why 45 to 64 can save more, because the prevalence it is higher for this group of people. Then we do some scenario analysis. The most interesting scenario analysis it is on treatment uptake. Because right now with the interferon-free regimen is available, people are predicting that treatment uptake will increase. So from a recent published study, it has only estimated around 20,000 to 30,000 of Hep C infected people has been treated with pegylated interferon in the past over 15 years. And they identified the side effect of pegylated interferon is the main barrier of those who are actually infected with Hep C to get on the treatment. The adverse event including the flu-like symptom, anemia, so they are the major barrier. And from the phase 3 clinical trial for those interferon-free regimens, we can find that the efficacy is good and there's no significant major adverse event. So what actually predicting it is once those interferon-free regimens is available, the uptake will likely to be increased. So Murray went to do a survey, another project. It is surveying all the hepatologists around Canada and asking them their opinion for treating Hep C patients with these interferon-free drugs. And we found out that there's a particular number after the survey conducted. And this is the original clinical data that we are using in the model. So from the data, as you can see, it is categorized according to different fibrosis stage. Whenever people develop a severe fibrosis, the chance of getting treatment will be higher by the hepatologist. And for mild fibrosis, people only 37%, up to 50% will be get treated. So we are predicting there will be a major change about this treatment pattern. And from the survey that went on and Marie done, after the gathering all the survey back, for those who filled in the survey, after we analyzed the data, we predicting that if the interferon-free regimen is available, the treatment uptake will likely to up to 87.5%. Then we're using this particular number, plug it into our model, and to see the cost, what is the eyes that will change if the uptake will be increased. So again, we focus on these columns, which is compare with the no screening. As you can see from this incremental cost effectiveness ratio, the ISA is actually improving if the uptake is increasing because we save more people's life. The more chance that they get onto the treatment, the better ISA we have. So we conduct further scenario analysis. Those are published in the paper. You can take a look on it. And then we conduct some sensitivity analysis. So this is pegylated interferon. It's not interested in it. So this is the DAA, one of the pegylated interferon-based DAA. And from the sensitivity analysis, we found out that there's three big things that can change the result. The major one is the utility. The CHC utility is the most sensitive one. Discount rate, since Hep C is a long-time progressive disease, it has some effect as well. Prevalence, definitely it is one. If we take a look on the interferon-free regimen, it basically shares the same thing. And then we do a PSA on that. This is PR. This is the PR-based DAA, which has 51% cost effective. If you're using 50,000 as the threshold. And for the interferon-free one, the percent of cost effectiveness is around 61%. Any questions before I go into the discussion? Yes.
So in the model or you put in the treatment for your assumption for treatment in the real world next couple of years. So in the model, I get the sense that you use 1 year worth of drug cost.
One year, yes.
1 year. Right?
It is a one-time regimen. Right now it is one regimen. Yes.
In real life, maybe one time?
In real life, for a particular regimen, you can have combination therapy, right? If you fail, you can have an add-on therapy in real life. But in here, we just do one. If you are not responder, then this is it. There's no response.
Chronic therapy annual.
It is not chronic therapy or for all Hep C treatment. It is different from Hep B. Hep B, you have to take the treatment for whole life, but this just one time.
So if you have to get on a combination, what's the maximum amount of time you could be on these drugs in real life?
I really don't know. But the SVR rate, it is for the interferon-free one, the cure rate, it is up to 97%. So 97% you will get rid of Hep C. 12 weeks, not 1 year, not even 1 year. So, of course, there are some limitations in our model. As I mentioned, some of the data is only from one hospital. That may create a bias, but that is what we can get. And there's not much publications about those distribution of fibrosis as well as probability on treatment. So we have to rely on hospital data. Another limitation is we just consider a case finding strategy. We have not considered every possible screening strategy. Actually, we should investigate whether just screening high-risk groups such as immigrants may be a better idea, or screening some hospitalizations population and emergency room population may be a better idea. So we did not account for that. And another limitation, it is the costing. Since it is a phase-based costing, we may kind of overestimating costs for mild or no fibrosis and underestimating costs for severe fibrosis because we don't have an exact mapping according to fibrosis stage. And from the one-way sensitivity analysis, as you can see, utility is one of the biggest sensitive variable. And from the study, we found out that the late-stage liver disease, for example, liver cancer, it is actually developed from a very limited sample size. So it may not even cover the full spectrum of the utility for all the patients who has liver cancer. Sample size is only around 20 to 30 people in the utility study. So there are some policy implications. As THETA mentions, PHET is actually right now is considering revising their guidance for Hep C. And we believe that health policy should be informed by considering the health benefits, social and ethical value, feasibility, as well as cost effectiveness. And we just done the project to inform their cost effectiveness side. And we believe this is good for Canada because most of our data is based on Canadian data. So in conclusions, in our estimations, one-time Hep C screening treatment is likely to be cost-effective. Screening program can identify those who are silently carrying the disease, and we can offer treatment, save, and prolong their life. So other Hep C ongoing at THETA, including a therapeutic review done by collaboration with Cardiff. We just finished the first one of therapeutic review and has published in the Cardiff website. The second project, it is since from the model, as you can see, utility is the biggest concern. So we propose to CIH out to remeasure the quality of life and utility among patients with chronic hepatitis C. We start up the project just in the past October. So that will conclude my presentations. Any questions?
other benefit, I guess, not only are you preventing deaths or people having to be compensated, but you're also opening up more spaces on the transplant list. Like these people have been transplanted, now you're opening up for other people who have
Oh, definitely. Yeah. In our model, we did not consider that one.
That's a huge thing.
Yeah, definitely.
Tennessee is now the leading cause of transplantation, and there's a tremendous shortage of.
Yep.
You're going to open up a lot of
Exactly.
Two things. So, one is the transition probability.
Yep.
So, our master US home that are 0 than for F4.
Yep. So we're using a yearly transition probability. It is published in a hepatologist journal. It is based on a meta-analysis done by Rosie and also Murray. You can take a look on that paper. So it's based on, basically it is the worldwide literature. They collect all the worldwide literature and then compare it and get you out a annual transition probability.
Now, the question of the treatment rate of 85.7.
87.5, yes.
87.5. Now, are you saying you assume is the 0.8% that have prevalence being 87.5?
Yes, in our scenario analysis, not in our baseline. The baseline it is based on the real clinical data settled in hospital. So the baseline case it is only around 70%, 60%.
60% of 0.8%.
Yeah, according to the fibrosis stage, if you can interested in it. So we have the data here. So F0 has lower chance to receive treatment, right? Because usually hepatologists will not prescribe some treatment for F0. They will take a look on that, see whether it will progress before they actually prescribe. So as you can see, whenever you are achieving F4 cirrhosis, you have more chance to treat. So this is based on the real clinical data. And again, this one, since when we're collecting this data, the neoadjuvant is not available. So it is based on pegylated interferon.
My third question is, research has shown that HB affects these different types of different controls. So, for a type of versus that one. Second is prison population.
Yep.
The third is transient. Okay.
Yep.
Now, does it make sense for us to have one model for all three? Do we need to?
It will be depends on your strategy that you want to align. For example, this type of model, it will be suitable for general populations because it tends to be the disease is not spreading for this type of silent population. For injection drug user, they are more kind of sharing. So the more appropriate modeling will be using a dynamic model for those type of populations. Because if you're treating one IDU, you are preventing population and sharing the virus, preventing the infections to all other people. So using different type of models for different populations seems to be more appropriate in this.
Finally, the population put it together. I think California came out with that speed.
Come to Canada in April. It's really just hepatitis C. But what will happen is the enormous formulary budget. Well, precious economy. should we treat only high-risk ones first? Should we treat everyone, just bite the bullet and pay for it? Should we wait until prices go down? You know, how to manage this, you know, like it's an amazing opportunity. We haven't seen we potentially eradicate disease that is causing leading complications, that. So it's an enormous opportunity. Like when you get a chance to eradicate infectious disease, but you know, there's going to be this lump that formulary have to eat for the next 20 years. How can we afford it? We've got William talking having special. I'll pick on this.
The mention of fighting.
Yeah, it will drop significantly. Yeah, because of the competition.
I think on that note, I would like to conclude. We're running out of time, but I think it's a really nice conclusion for the comments and like more questions coming up. Thanks everybody for coming. Thanks for your questions. Thanks for the evaluation form and come back next week when I do the big spending on. Thank you.
Thank you.